Yeah, I think Sudesh, you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Satish. And hi, everyone. This is Satish. Uh, Satish, myself, founded the CSA San Francisco chapter, I think late last year. And we always wanted to kind of put together a schedule and build a rhythm where we can invite guest speakers, we can even talk about the industry trends. And this is more around building a networking event as well, where you can connect with industry leaders as well as get up to date on what's going in the industry, right? I know we have a little low audience today, but that's fine. I think we need to take one step at a time, and eventually we'll get there. Our intent is to spread the knowledge across multiple folks who are passionate about information security, whether it is a cloud or on-prem, doesn't matter. And today we have two guest speakers. Satish is going to talk about the domain and subdomain takeovers, which is a pretty overlooked threat in cloud as people work in the DevOps or developer community. And this particular scenario exists in all three cloud, whether you take AWS, GCP, and Azure. And along with that, the biggest threat is supply chain. And Satish will walk you through on some of the examples in the call. And with that, I will hand it over to Satish.
Yeah, thanks, Sudesh. That was an awesome introduction. So with that, let me explain what exactly we'll be doing today. And before that, hello everyone, welcome to our event. It's a pleasure to have you all here. I think there are total 7 or around 8 people. That's really great for the first meetup session. First and foremost, I want to express my gratitude for the attendance. I understand all your time is really valuable, and we appreciate you taking time to be here with us. We have great event planned for you today, filled with a lot of informative and engaging presentations. We have put a lot of effort and hard work to make this event. We hope you will enjoy it and find it more informative and beneficial too. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have, and don't hesitate to share your thoughts and opinions throughout the event. Once again, thank you being here. With that, let me start with my introduction. So my name is Satish Govindappa, and I have 20 plus years of experience in building application, breaking application, and fixing applications. So apart from that, I hold multiple certifications. I have OSCP, CEH, and ECSA. I have done my master's in computers as well in cybersec and cyber law. Previous to this, I was taking care of WASP Null Bangalore chapter, and now CSA SFO. I have my contact details down here. You can just contact me with those details. And agenda for today. So first, I'll explain about the takeover, what exactly is takeover, and then what subdomain takeover is and how it works. It's important to understand the basics before diving deeper into the topic. Next, I will be talking about the economics of subdomain takeover. So why hackers are interested in this vulnerability, and how do they make profit out of it? And more interesting is like bug bounty hunters, how they can make it as a side hustle and make profit out of it. This would be very interesting for many of us. Then I will cover the different types of subdomain takeovers that exist. It's important to be aware of the different methods that attackers can use the exploit or use to exploit this vulnerability. After that, I will provide a use case on subdomain takeover, especially on AWS bucket. This is a common target for subdomain takeover attacks. It is important to understand how it works and how to prevent it. Following that, I will discuss the implications of subdomain takeover attacks, what kind of damage it can cause, and how the business gets affected and the individuals too. Lastly, I will summarize by going over the fix for subdomain takeover for S3 bucket, since prevention is the key, and it's important to know how to protect your online presence from these types of attacks. So let's understand what is subdomain or domain takeover. Imagine if instead of Amazon, you had the power to control Amazon.com. It's frightening thought, but that's what domain takeover and subdomain takeover is all about. If you're seeing in the screen, you have a browser and it says at the top Amazon.com. And there is a red block, if you could see. So that is a subdomain for Amazon.com. Maybe it is shoppingcart.amazon.com. So there is a possibility of hackers taking over that particular domain and completely controlling it. So how this could be done. So before that, I'll just try to make it more interesting by getting into the financial part of it or the more economic part of it. So previously, a lot of bug bounty hunters, they made a lot of cash out of it. Based on the metrics in HackerOne, around 12,000 plus bugs were identified by the bug bounty programmers. So each bug would cost somewhere between $500 to $2,000 for the companies to shell out. So if you take an average, maybe 1,000, it would be around 12 million. So much of uh, so much of amount was given to the bug bounty hunters. So if you are interested in side hustle, this would be a very good side hustle too. Um, so this not only that, by doing bug bounty, how many of you are aware of bug bounty program here? Bhuvneshwari, you know what is bug bounty program?
I've heard about it, but I'm not like, I don't know the exact definition.
No, okay. Let me give you an overview of bug bounty program. So basically, HackerOne is a site. If you can go to a HackerOne site, you can register yourself, and then they will provide you a list of applications for you to hack and then make money, make a bounty out of it. So a lot of big companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they are part of it. So it's like they have given you approval to go and hack the list of domains they have provided. So this is not only very good way to move forward in this domain, especially security. It gives recognition, and then you can easily get jobs out of it. So it's like a hands-on practice you can do over there. It'll be very useful. I mean, I would recommend you try once, just register and then see if you could do something on it. If you're able to crack at least one bug, then definitely you're sure to get a job.
Okay. But it's not like something we need to learn about the security things, or it's just trying to find the vulnerabilities in the particular application being developed.
Yeah, just trying to find vulnerabilities in the applications, but you need to have a little bit of basic knowledge of pen testing. Just basically, for example, you have a login screen, try to bypass it, things like that. Try those use cases.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I'll try. Thank you for the input.
Okay. So next, I'll quickly switch on to the subdomain. I'll take the subdomain and explain what is an URL and how this URL is configured in the Amazon, for example, S3 bucket, how it is configured and how people will misuse it. So whenever HTTPS shopping cart at amazon.com, if you have this kind of URL, in this URL, so HTTPS until here is the protocol. And then shopping cart is called the subdomain. Amazon is called the domain, and com is the top level domain. So these are the components of an URL. Now, how this URL is configured by Amazon in AWS. So if you go to AWS, basically Route 53 is a component or a app in AWS where they would have put this configuration. For example, Amazon.com will be having, this is a hypothetical example. It will be pointing to some IP address, and then there will be a NS record, and then there would be SOA, and then there is a CNAME. So if you see CNAME carefully, so this is an S3 bucket, which is tied to this particular Amazon.com. So if you consider this as a resource, this as the domain name, so this domain subdomain name is connected to this particular resource. Now, what is the problem now? Often what happens, developers, they will have created these kind of subdomains and have attached to some of the resources. Now, the problem happens when they remove the resource and then forget to remove the subdomain name. And it is pretty common throughout the industry. So a lot of times people, they just create multiple subdomains, they tie to a resource, and then they just simply, for some reason, they don't need the resource, in this case, S3 bucket, and then they just discard it without properly sanitizing the entire subdomain. So that is when the problem occurs. Now, what happens? So when the resource is disconnected and you still have the resource name, the domain name, then you will get this kind of error. For example, a particular domain name, shoppingcart.com, was associated with a bucket, and that bucket was deleted. So you get this kind of error. So this error is easy to detect. So you just, there are some of the scanners are open source. You can just download from the Git and then run scan across, and you will find a lot of subdomains with this kind of error. So when you have this kind of error, all you need to do is copy the bucket name and then create your own AWS account, create a sub bucket, and then create a domain name and then attach it to it. So that way what will happen, whatever the whoever tries to access that particular domain is redirected to your bucket. So that that is how you will get the entire access of that particular domain. So you will be controlling that domain. So yeah, this is a very serious issue. So a lot of people, hackers, they try to utilize this. They start doing phishing out of it. They start exploiting that website. And then that's how they make a lot of money. And basically they'll do a phishing, get the information, maybe do some kind of malicious activities and make money. So this is a very serious concern. And the fix is very simple. All you need to do is just, you need to delete whenever you remove the resource, you need to delete the domain names which you have created, the configuration. So it is that simple. So yeah, this is about subdomain takeover. And any questions here? I have kept it at a very high level. So the plan is from next session. So this is a kind of offering we have. I mean, watch out our emails. We plan to have a hands-on session, whatever I discussed now, right? So this is at a high level overview, but we will be doing this hands-on. So we will cover from the basics. We will try to understand what is DNS, starting from that, and principles of subdomain takeover. We will try to, before that, we will try to understand what is cloud, basics of cloud, start for all the three, Azure, GCP, as well as AWS. So this is in the pipeline. We want to give this instructor-led session to free for people who are part of CSA SFO. So watch out for our emails, and then definitely once we have a set of people, we will have the session online free, with free of cost. And Bhuvaneshwar, if you have any colleagues, please feel free to socialize this information with them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just to make the session interactive, how many of you know what is meant by a subdomain and what is meant by namespace? Otherwise, we have to unmute everybody and pick the people.
Hi, sir. Sir, I know what is subdomain.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, what is subdomain?
So, subdomain is basically like, um, how can I define that in definitions? I mean, like a subdomain is a part of like a top level domain. I can say.
Yeah,
For example, if we have like a google.com, so abc.google.com will be the subdomain of google.com.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just to put that in the perspective, let's say you live in a city, and in a city you want to have your house as identity. So consider your city as amazon.com. That's where you live, right? And now let's say you live in a house called as 1234. So 1234.amazon.com is your identity of that house. So that means that is your subdomain, which is tied to your city.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Hey, hi Satish, hi everyone. So
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, thank you. So my question was, how should we build this kind of mitigation in our pipeline so that we can actively crawl and find out through our AWS environment that these buckets are some buckets which has a DNS record as well, and these are tend to be deleted, has been deleted, and we actively find out that, and then we remove that record from the DNS. Like in my organization, we have a robust architecture of AWS where
Mhm.
a lot of we have one organization account and multiple would say multiple account under ad, and a couple of them were used as a DNS entries, and a lot of other domain are being used as a resource, right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
it's not like one account is being used as a S3, multiple accounts are being used as S3, and there could be one centralized account which are using as a DNS server for a DNS, right? So it's very difficult for the big organization to find out and map all these. Okay, this particular resources here, and the DNS entries in particular this account. So let's say DevOps team went and they remove that resource. They will not be aware. Okay, this have an entry in DNS report, and that's what I see as a major problem. Could you please put light over it? Thank you.
Yeah, you have touched the core of the problem. Very awesome question. Thanks for that. So yeah, it is very difficult to solve this issue. Basically, I would say, unless you have complete knowledge about all the three clouds and how it could be sorted out. So there are multiple ways you can address this issue. First, starting with maybe if you have a tool like Prisma Cloud or any commercial tool, you can plug into all your AWS, for example. Let's just take AWS resources. So plug into that and then create a policy so that any so Prisma Cloud comes up with a list of issues where there is a policy violation. That is one way. Number two, there are so many open source tools which can, you need to do a little bit automation, you need to do a little bit modification, and then you need to run on a daily basis, crawl all the domains, and then see if you are getting those errors or those patterns. So you need to write a Python script which hits that particular domain or subdomain, and then when you get back the result, you need to verify what is it giving uh, the one which I showed right here. If you see, this is the symptom I would call it as. So if it generates this kind of result, then you can further analyze it. So you should run a cron job on a daily basis, identifying such 404 not founds, and then manually you need to go and verify and fix it if it has an issue. So yeah.
Got it, Satish. Thank you so much.
Just if you have anything additional to add to that?
No, I think you covered well. One of the thing, your name is Mohammed Arif, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the thing you can do is to make sure your company and your developers are following like more like a defense in depth approach. Are you familiar with the guardrails?
No, sir.
Okay, so in the cloud world, there is a concept of guardrails, okay, which are set up at the organization level. So what you can do,
Like,
sorry?
you mean about SCP policies, right?
Yeah. So what you can do is you can just configure a policy there saying, apart from administrators, nobody is able to create namespace or nobody is able to create subdomains. So that way, even though you get a request during the DevOps pipeline, these requests by default will fail because that particular service account doesn't have privileges, right? That's one way. The second way, which Satish recommended, was you can crawl through all your domains, which is the top level domains, and then get a list of all your subdomains, and then perform a curl activity until you get a HTTP status code with 400. And you will find so many tons of open source libraries there. And then as soon as you detect 404, for example, then you can fire up your stateless functions if you have any process. And that will help you to take down those domain or delete those subdomains. So these are the two, and quick and easy way to kind of detect that. But over long run, you can add it as a part of your CI/CD pipeline.
Right, Satish. Thank you for clarifying. But I absolutely agree with you guys, the point. But the main issue is here, this is a passive methodology, right? Although we are doing that, but there are a lot of hackers who have made their own automation tool, and they are right, and they are doing at each second they are crawling and they're finding out. So my main whole aim was to get these domain beforehand, before getting them taken over. So a couple of them have S3, AWS automation as well. As soon as they found, they go and take over, right? And
Yeah.
once they take over, then that's an issue, because now there could be one company can deny that, oh, okay, this is not our, we delete this record, but that is not ethical. Second thing, there a lot of companies has a bug bounty platform, right? So they
Mhm.
need to be applied with that. So once our attacker shows that, okay, I have taken over this domain and I have a substantial proof, you have to go ahead and pay it, right?
Yeah.
But the major concern is not the paying, but the thing is how much that attacker can escalate that issue. Like if he uses a JavaScript and if it is one of the subdomain, and I mean, in the major company, the configuration is like if there is a JavaScript on subdomain, it will be applicable to all the other the top level domains, right? So that could be one of the concern and a lot of others, right? So I was thinking ki if there is any way proactively find out and fix these kind of issues.
See, one of the way proactively find out is as soon as you see a configuration change in your cloud environment, you need to have an automation which will look for these activities or these errors. That is one way you can do. I mean, easy and quick way to monitor this configuration 24/7. All right. And other methodology, which I just said, more on defense in depth, just do not give the privileges to them. Tell them, hey, you know what, this is what it is. Even though you create a subdomain association, you cannot delete anything until an administrator will look at it and then delete that asset. Does that help?
I mean, yeah, it does, but I mean, it's little difficult in a big robust organization, right? Where
Yeah.
a lot of people have a lot of privilege and security team is a central security team is containing not a lot of people, so it's become very hectical for them to monitor everything. But yeah, I do agree with that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
this is a very common problem in mainly in the small to mid scale companies because everybody is essentially an admin, right? So they can do whatever they want, and security team is like sandwich between these. And to make sure we have a good level of visibility, this is the workaround I would recommend. Having a trigger based approach that will help you to detect these activities.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Satish.
Yeah, but whatever the points you're touching is really, I mean, we have gone through that. We had similar issue. So before we found the hacker, we used to find it. So there are a couple of frameworks which we used. Maybe I can share it with you. So we found a couple of open source tools available. You can directly download from GitHub. So they completely talk about this particular issue, how to find before hackers find, right? So it is not only hackers, it not only, sorry, bug bounty hunters find, even the hackers can find before to you. So it's a very serious issue. And then there are some certain frameworks which has been written. You need to integrate as part of the automation, and then the scans should happen quite frequently rather than once a day or things like that. So I can point you to the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Satish.
Yeah. Those are awesome. Good questions. Okay, one more thing I just want to let everybody know. Oh, so, okay, still we have a couple of minutes. So please register yourself for CSA SFO chapter, if not. So this is the way to register. You need to click on this link, go to login. There is a little bit a difficulty. So that's why I'm just going through the steps to register. Click on the link. All these things are there part of the meetup. I have added as a document. If you are coming through meetup, you can just use this PDF template to register yourself. It is very important to register because CSA SFO site has got a lot of information about cloud security. You get to download all the free latest research people are doing. That could be zero trust or things like that. So you get all those documents for free. So make use of it. So this is the way to register. Go to these places and then you enter your details, and there is CAPTCHA. I mean, you need to put this information, and then finally you have to click I agree, and then it will take to the circles page. So here we have the announcements, everything going on. You can opt for community notifications, and then ensure that you appear below as a member. So until then, you won't be able to access the resources or the information. So this is very important. And also LinkedIn, try to connect yourself via LinkedIn too. Okay, awesome. So with that, I think Swarup, I'll hand over to you for the next session.
Thanks, Satish.
Yeah, let me give you permissions to share. Yeah, now you can go ahead and share your screen.
Sure. If you can unshare your screen. So are you able to see my screen, Satish?
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Swarup. And thanks everyone for making your time and joining this. And thanks, Satish, for giving me the opportunity to give a seminar. So just a few bits and pieces about me. I have 10 plus years of experience in application security, threat modeling, and code review. A little bit of code, coding too. And I have experience in cloud security also. I had CH and OSCP certifications, and I'm master's in information technology, chapter lead for OAS Bay Area chapter. So I have my details here if you want to connect or if you want more information about me. And so today topic from my side is building trust in your container supply chain. So before diving into the topic, just want to give a brief background. Seems there are so many attacks happened in supply chain world, and so so many known attacks such as SolarWinds attack and all those stuff, and which led the US government also to take some steps to prevent supply chain attacks. And they have government orders and all those things happened around this area. So I just thought of giving, taking supply chain security at multiple places. I have given few demos in OAS Bay Area and Pacific Hackers also. So when I was giving demos, I understand one thing: supply chain security is ever fresh. If I go and talk to few people, so there is always something new about supply chain security. So that's what led my interest in this area basically. And the agenda looks like this for today. And what are the container supply chain challenges, and how to establish the trust in containers, and take you through what is a software bill of materials in the container world, and signing and verifying container images. So before directly jumping onto the supply chain world, so let's look into the container ecosystem, how it is and all those things. So what happens in the real world, so as we are all working on the real-time applications, basically what we'll do as a developer, as a user, so he'll do some changes to the code, and they'll push the code into the Git repo, or it may be GitLab or GitHub, Bitbucket, whatever you name it. And so once during the build step, whatever the code available or whatever the dependencies available, and everything will be built into a container image. And this container image will be pushed to a container registry. So there are many container registries in place. So GitLab container registry, GitHub registry, JFrog, whatever you name it. And once, and it will be pulled from the registry, and by using the container orchestration tools like Kubernetes or Docker or what, and Google containers or AWS stuff. So you'll be deploying the code into the using container orchestration tools and all those things. So this is how it works. And it is a bit different than than the regular old style deployments way. How it is different in the containerized world. Let's look into how it looks like when we look into so when we are creating the container image, how it looks at the back end. So if you look at the code at the high level, the first line tells, so from Ubuntu latest. So this is the base image, and you are taking that base image and you are running few layers on the base image. And this is an important point. When you take a container or container orchestration stuff, everything is a layer basically. So from Ubuntu latest is your base layer, and you're getting the base image, Ubuntu image. And if you understand this Ubuntu latest, so it tells, so pull the image or take the image with the latest tag on it. That is a problem for different another day. So why you can't use the latest, and why you have to use a specific tag when you're pulling the image. And so you're running your apt update, and you're creating an application directory, copying everything into the application directory, and making application directory as your work directory, and you're running Python pip. You're installing Python pip, and you are installing all the dependencies to requirement.txt, and then finally you're running your application. So everything is a layer here. This is the base layer, and installing Python pip is another layer, and installing requirements.txt is another layer. So you need to make sure you are secured from all these layers, or you're securing all these layers. You're securing all these layers with the tools available, or with the configurations, with the security configurations and all those things. So there might be vulnerabilities in the base image, in the base layer itself. So there might be many libraries which are pulled through your base image, and there are many vulnerabilities associated with the libraries basically. At the same time, there might be vulnerabilities with the Python pip library you're installing, and there might be vulnerabilities with the dependencies you are installing through requirements of txt. These are all combined into your, supply chain stuff basically. And let's look into each layer. So what is the issue, or what will be the vulnerabilities when we have an vulnerable base image? So for that, I'm taking Image Magic as an example. Basically, Image Magic is a library which is used to resize the images basically. And so it was a big vulnerability at the time. So there is a CVE also around it. When it was found. So what happens on the back end basically is now my app container. So this is my app interface, which is the UI basically, and this is my app container, which is having Image Magic library, and this is having a vulnerability. As an end user, I know this particular application is using Image Magic library to resize the images in the backend. So what I'll do, I'll just craft a malicious payload as part of an image, and I will try to upload that to the UI, through the UI. And once it is processed on the backend, so this malicious payload, if you carefully observe this malicious payload, what I'm doing is I'm trying to put a reversal in it and make the container to execute it. So once it is executed, I will definitely get the reversal, and I can do whatever we want, basically. So now the problem lies in the vulnerable version of the image magic library. So what happened if I use a base image with an image magic library in it already? And if you are not aware of it, and how as an attacker I'll get the reversal. Let's put this theory stuff aside and do the practical stuff. One second. I'll bring this later. So let me know if it is visible for you. Perfect. Okay. So there is a base image which is vulnerable base image which is having image magic stuff. So that base image is this one. I'm just copying my commands to save time. So the image is image tragic. So I'm just pulling it to my Docker repo, and so what I'm doing is I'm just running that particular, there's a small application as part of that. I'm just running that. So when I run that application, so which is, it is running in my local host. Let me pull my browser. Yep. So if I go to localhost and 8080 public, so if you can see at the UI allow their upload an image to convert it to a Twitter ideal photo, which is this size. And as I shown you earlier, so I can quickly upload an image which is having a reversal in it. So I have that already. And so before uploading that image, let me quickly run netcat command to handle the session, which the shell basically. So now this is where I'm trying to catch the reversal, which is coming through when I upload the image. So one second, let me do this for to be very easy. So when I choose the image and click on resize, but this time I should get my reversal. So if you see, this is processing. If I run any command, I have already got the reversal on it. So just to make sure, we are getting every time we run this. So I'll just show what is available as part of uploads. So I tried it 2 times today, and there are 2 images. And let's come out of it, and let's run it again. Actually, so choose file. Let me run the netcat and choose file. But this time I should get it. So now again, let's do. I have 3. So this is where if your base image is having any vulnerability, and if you're not aware of that, you are simply using that as a base image and running something on top of it. So you will be vulnerable to so many things basically. So now what we have to do here, so to avoid these type of things. So one thing you have to do is your base image should be coming from any official repos. Basically, Docker has its own official repo. So download the base image or take the base image from official repo, or take the base image from your private repos. So where you have a JFrag repository, and all the base image goes there, is the base image or the images pushed by you, basically, or pushed by the organization. That is there. There are few ways of doing that. So either pull the official repo base image, or use the base image which are built by you. So this is one problem. So where you need to make sure your base image is secure. And after that, what will happen is you need to establish the trust with respect to the supply chain you are getting. And if you're aware of the SALSA framework, basically, you can understand what each level brings into your environment. So now same stuff. So as a developer, as user, I'll push the code to my code repository. So which is having, I mean, like my base image, my dependencies, my source code, everything will be built into a container image, and that container image will be pushed to a registry. At the same time, I will be using the image to deploy everything. Now we have discussed about the base image issue, which is completely different. Now let's discuss about the supply chain stuff. What are the levels of SALSA basically? So SALSA level 0 gives no guarantee. So SALSA level 0 tells, no, you are not maintaining your security posture as part of your deployment with respect to supply chain. What is SALSA level 1? So which gives unsigned provenance basically. So now this is a simple policy. You have to make sure what your application is using to make sure you are securing them basically. So you need to make sure this is the metadata around my application, then only you can secure it. Without having, the metadata around your application, you cannot do anything basically. So SALSA level 1 tells that basically. So when you are using something, you need to make sure you have a list of all the things. Let's say you are using this library, you are using this base image, and you are using these dependencies and all those stuff. You need to make sure you have a list of them. So what helps you to get the list, or what helps you to successfully fulfill your SALSA level 1 is SBOM, software bill of materials. So what is SBOM with respect in the containerized world? It is a nested inventory with all of ingredients that makes up, your software component basically. And your SBOM tells you many things basically. What is the dependency name? Who is the supplier of the dependency? Whether it is a licensed dependency or not? Whether it's compliant with the security or not? And all those things. So you have to make sure you will have a list of all the all the dependencies you are using, which is making up your software component. So let's understand more about it basically. So there are few SBOM elements. So who is the author of a dependency? Who is the supplier of the dependency? What's the component name around it? And what is the version you are using? And if there is any hash for the dependency, use the hash. If there is any unique identifier for that, and what is the relationship? So this is the technical way of understanding, right? So let's come out of the technical way of understanding and understand the non-technical way of understanding your SBOM basically. So when you go to a supermarket and you'll find, you'll buy a product. So when you're buying a product in the modern world, what people are doing, people will be looking at the nutrition facts around it basically in a product. So how much cholesterol is there? How much sugars are there? What are the soluble sugars? What are non-soluble sugars are there? What are the vitamins in the product? And what is the fat? What is the saturated fat? What are the trans-saturated fat, trans fat, and all those things? So if you take a product, this is the SBOM for the product basically. So which is software bill of materials for a product you are buying from a supermarket. But at the same time, you apply that technology to your software packaging, so which is similar to that. So I'm using this library, I'm using this dependency version is this, and dependency has all these vulnerabilities and all those things. So you need to maintain that to make sure you have proper trust established in the your development pipeline. So the first steps of Salsa tells you you need to maintain a list, documentation of the build process. So that tells you you have all these ingredients in your software build. So now what is step 2? Okay, now you have the list of stuff. How you are making sure the list of stuff is what you are expecting. Oh, sorry, before going to that, so once you have SBOM, so SBOM, there are many formats: software package data exchange format, software identification tagging, and OWASP has its own format, Cyclone DX. But all those formats rotates around or revolves around the elements basically. Now you have the list of ingredients for your software packaging. You need to make sure if there are any vulnerabilities in the list of ingredients, so which is my supply chain. So the supply chain I'm using as part of my software packaging is having any vulnerabilities. So there are tools around it. Shift is one which will help you to generate software bill of materials, and at the same time gripe is a vulnerability scanner. So based upon the outcome of it will find out the vulnerabilities within your software bill of materials. So this is let's do that on the image magic base image to see what it is producing for us. So I'll be using the same image to generate my SBOM using Shift tool. I have installed Shift already in my machine. So when you run Shift on the same image project, it'll take some time. It will generate the SBOM. It will list out all the supply chain elements in it and create a JSON. Let it finish. And meanwhile, it is running. Any questions?
So it's very important to understand, I think, container security in order to cater to cloud security, right? Sorry.
Yep. So it tells there are 749 packages in this image basically. So it has created as bomb.json. So it will be a big file basically. If you look into it, there are so much stuff it will tell. So let's take one particular thing, if I can explain in a best way. Maybe let me run gripe so that you'll get good details actually. So what gripe will do is gripe will find out all the vulnerabilities with respect to the dependencies find in SBOM basically. So gripe will not take much time. Yes. So, so if you look at, the gripe output, basically, cat JSON. So again, it is a big file, same stuff. You will be getting more details here. So it is telling, so the vulnerability is this, and what is the description? Regular expression denial of service in npm user validate, basically. So npm has a library user validate, and there is a denial of service in that. And at the same time, so there are so many vulnerabilities in the libraries used. So I am not interested in all those stuff. I just want to see if gripe is able to find out the remote code execution vulnerability in the SBOM. So when I run gripe for specific CVE, it is giving me this. So gripe is telling image magic has this vulnerability, which is high severity, and this is the CVE. And at the same time, what are all the other components of image magic is having library, image magic core, dev is having the same vulnerability. So gripe is able to tell me, so your base image is having this particular vulnerability. So this is where, these things will be helpful. So if you are not doing all these steps as part of your pipeline, then you are at risk, basically. That's what I'm trying to tell here. So now what will happen? So salsa level 1 tells, you need to make sure how to build your SBOM, and you have to find out the vulnerabilities in the libraries of your SBOM, basically. Okay, now so in the pipeline, I created SBOM, and at the same time, I have found out the list of vulnerabilities and I have fixed them. So this particular step is clear. And what is Salsa 2, basically? Salsa step 2, it is telling tamper resistance of the build service, basically. What happens here is, okay, now this is the base image you are taking from your either public, either your private repo or, for example, JFrog repo. What makes sure this particular image is not tampered? So that is the example. So let's take an example of Trojanized image here. So let's take a public container registry. And what happens usually is, as it is a public container registry, if there is an image called ABC, multiple people will be working on it and they will be pushing multiple times in a day. So, and what you always do, this is what I told you, basically. So using latest tag is a problem for another day. There is a bigger conversation, basically. So as usual, I'll go and pull the latest image of it, and somebody has put a reversal in it, basically. When I use that, I am prone to all those. Like I am usually, risky, and my all information in that application is at the risk. So this is a Trojanized image. How to stop it, basically? So if it is not a public, what we called a container registry, let's take JFrog stuff. So the attack vector is a bit different here compared to public container registry. So what happens if your JFrog repository credentials are leaked somewhere and someone got hold of them and they pushed a Trojanized image into your JFrog registry? So you always feel, and you are in a comfortable zone of, okay, this is my private registry and no one will be doing anything. So what happens if the credentials are leaked somewhere, and if someone is able to push some Trojanized image there, you will be downloading the image and you will be using that. So which is, you will be not knowing that, but which is very, very dangerous stuff. So what Salsa step or level 2 tells you, you have to make sure assigned provenance is in place. what is signed provenance is nothing but the base image, which you are pushing, should be signed by your private key, basically. So in a, basically in an organization, so there will be multiple people who will be pushing the images and will be pulling the images, basically. But you need to make sure who are pushing the images should use a private key, and the private key should be somewhere in the vault. And who are pulling the images should be verifying those images with a public key, basically. So what in this case, even though if some issue happened, like your credentials for JFrag registry has leaked somewhere, someone pushed a content, right? I mean, like Trojanized image. What happens if I'm trying to use that image, my verification fails. So if I'm using the same public image to verify the image, it fails. It tells, no, this particular image is not signed with the private key intended, so you cannot use it. So that is where SALSA step level 2 come into picture and provide you some level of assurance. Even though something happens, you have some level of assurance, where we always call it defense in depth, basically. Signing images is one important step to avoid some vulnerabilities like Trojanization, all those stuff. So again, put the technical side of it aside, and let's try to discuss it in a non-technical way. So this signing images is nothing but signing an agreement, basically. So this is an older approach. So if you are buying a property, so the buyer and seller comes and they will sign, and buyer will have his own record copy of the agreement, and seller will have his own copy of the agreement. So if someone changes something in the agreement, what happens? So he can double check. If buyer changes something, he can double check with seller's copy. So you have changed something. It is not there in the copy which is provided by you, and we both are signed in it. So which is nothing but the same concept has been applied here. Signing image is nothing but, so whenever I'm pushing the image to, so what will happen? I create a public private key of public private key pair, and I will be using the private key to sign the image while pushing. And if someone is want to use the image, and they will use the same public key created by me, and to verify the image. So if something changed as part of that, so my public key verification will fail, and it tells, no, something has been changed, you cannot use, basically it is contaminated, basically. So that where SALSA step 2 level 2 will help you in maintaining the authenticity, basically, or integrity. I can say integrity. So there is also step 3 and step 4, which is more advanced steps. So what SALSA step 3 tells, so extra resistance to specific threats, basically. So as a supplier, so let's say I am the owner of a specific library. As a supplier, I need to confidently tell I am taking care of all these steps. And even though if you're using this, you should not be prone to any vulnerabilities. That is SALSA step 3. And SALSA step 4 is highest level of confidence and trust. So there is a 2-party review where 2 people or 2 additional organizations has to trust or tell this particular library or this particular component is safe to use, and security builds. So someone who is the supplier has to put a document around the build process. So this is my build process, and I have taken all these steps to make sure my component is secure. So that is also step 4. This is how we can maintain the security in supply chain. So putting all these things together, there are a few recommendations, basically. So only pull the containers from trusted sources, example, your private repos or docker.io official images. And it is good to use specific tags rather than using always latest. So when it is public maintained repo, I mean, use always specific tags. And So one good example I can give, if you use, I mean, like, let's say, take log4j into as an example. So you tell your organization, so the secure version of log4j is in this image with this tag. And someone comes and changes the log4j into an insecure version and give it as a latest tag. So if you pull a latest tag, you'll be getting the insecure version of log4j at the same time. So I mean, the maintenance of specific tags is always important. At the same time, generate SBOM and monitor for vulnerabilities associated with it. And enable container scanning in your CI/CD pipeline and update the containers as frequently as possible. And sign and verify the images, sign and verify the SBOM. Yeah, I forgot something. You can also sign your SBOM also in the same fashion you are signing the images, and run your containers as the least privileged user. And the last but not the least one is like prefer minimum or distroless base images, only install the dependencies you need. So don't overweigh your images, and that overweight will carry the vulnerabilities with those also. So use whatever is minimal and whatever the dependencies you need. That's it. And please ask if there are any questions. And I hope it is useful.
Yeah, definitely useful, Swarup. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session with with the all with the way to hack. It's really good to see, and it is very important to have complete knowledge of container security if you want to build your profile in cloud security, because cloud security, what you'll be finding is all about the containers, how what kind of vulnerability it could cause. So it is very important to understand this piece.
Thanks, Suresh.
Thank you. Thanks to you. It's an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
With that, I think we have come to the end. So usually what we plan to do is going forward, we'll have a feedback session where we will ask feedback for attendees. And then we also want to ensure what are your interests. We want to understand what you would like to learn in the next session. So we'll try to bring in, choose those topic and bring in people who could cater those needs. So I'll just quickly share my screen. And Mohammed, I have shared with you a link. It is called, I hope you found it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
it is
just-
called, the project is called Domain Protect.
Mhm.
So it's a GitHub project, Domain Protect. In fact, these people, right, when they were working on subdomain takeover, they had a similar issue. Whatever you were talking about, right? That what if hackers find before, or bug bounty hunters find before you? So they try to resolve that aspect of it. Maybe I think this would be useful to you.
Yeah, the domain protect, I believe this is from OWASP too, basically. So, I mean, there are many modules around it, Arif. So, I mean, this is more, there are more offensive modules also around it. So there is one module which is called automated takeover. So what it do is if it finds a subdomain which is possibly vulnerable to takeover, so you can directly ask it to take over by itself before someone take it over. So
yeah, that is really good, smart way of
yeah,
ensuring nobody takes it over. Yeah, that's really good.
Sure, we'll have a look. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and
I think I'm not sure, but Chaos Monkey does the same kind of stuff, right?
oh, is it? Okay.
It's not sure, but yeah, it's all around cloud.
Okay, good. Yeah, please check it out. I mean, we found this one very helpful, maybe for you too.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing.
And also, quick feedback session. I just want to understand how was the session. I mean, was it too at a very high level. Do you, next session, what kind of sessions you are looking for in cloud security? We'll try to cater those needs. So Bhuvneshwari, how did you find this session?
So actually, I felt it is a bit of a high level only.
Okay.
But I have made a note of things which I have to brush up so that I'm well prepared and I can understand your next session in a more better way. Do you have any recommendation regarding, like, if at all I have to start my career in cybersecurity or cloud security? What are all the certifications you recommend, or any basics which I have to go through?
Yes. So would it be nice to have this as the next session?
Yeah. If everyone else is okay, I'm okay with it. Otherwise, if you can just let me know now also, I'll just make a note of it and then I'll go through myself.
Okay, no problem. I mean, we'll have this session. This is an interesting session. Career path in cybersecurity. How to career path to cybersecurity. Cloud security. I make it cloud security. This is an interesting topic. Let's do it. I find this would be helpful to many people. So one session we can keep this one. So next month, what would next month? What time would be best?
The same time, same day. I don't know how you people plan. So based on that.
No, it all depends on you. You people who attend will work accordingly. So whoever you are the priority. So you tell us when you want, we will have on that day. So May. How about same this week, Thursday, 25th?
Yes.
How about Arif? You're fine with 25th, same. And maybe is it okay to reduce 1 hour instead of 1.5 hours?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay, cool. So let's make it 1 hour. 6 to 7 is fine, or what time best suits to you?
Yeah, 6 to 7.
Cool. How about you, Arif and Danish?
Absolutely okay from my side.
Okay. Okay, so first session is fine, right? Let's have career path to cloud security and or / AppSec. Okay, then one more session. Any recommendation you people have, or if you want to know more about anything?
Building up CI/CD security, sort of. I mean, I feel this is one of the major aspects nowadays. So we can
DevSecOps.
focus.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We can cover high level DevSecOps. Okay, fine. Then we have the time. So that is on 20 May 25th. So May 25th, we'll have the next session. We'll do it from 6 to 7. So there will be 2 sessions starting 6 to 6:30. We will cover career paths to cloud security AppSec, followed by DevSecOps, CSCD pipelines. Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics. I can take this because I've been doing this for quite a long time. Definitely, I can help you out on this. Yeah, I'll try to send some notes before itself so that that will help you prep before you attend the session.
Would be great.
Yeah, that will be of great help.
Yeah.
And any other resources which, especially me, I'm a beginner. Please, yeah, if you can share, I can go through those things also.
Definitely, I have a book for you.
Yeah, please tell me.
how to? Yeah, I'll share it with you. Definitely.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, then Sudesh, you there? Any last summary would you be interested to give? Okay, looks like he's away. But yeah, thanks everybody for attending. So we have the next session set, and see you next month. Or let us know if you want maybe bi-monthly. That also we can do. And try to add your comments. I think the best way to reach out everybody is add in this group. If you go to, this would be the good place to CSA home, CSSFO home. So you can start adding, if you have, you can just add a post here. So that way I will know, I will follow this closely. So whenever you add, maybe if you want not bi-weekly, at least monthly twice, you can just add a post here in San Francisco SFO chapter. That way I will know what exactly you are looking for. And yeah, there is a tons of resource over here. Try to explore. Maybe next month, while going through that cloud career path to cloud, I'll also cover some of the resources which are available over here.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much for everyone attending. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Swaroop and Satish.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Everyone.
Bye. Good
Thank you,
evening.
everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Satish,
Yes,
just a point. I mean, if we can incorporate this, how should we, I mean, impose this framework throughout the company? I mean, would be great. We can. talk
sorry, I
about
didn't
it.
get. Can you repeat?
Yeah, sure. I mean to say, like as Swaroop all told, right? This is how we should take care of container security. But I go through and I ask my developer to do it, right? It would be an extra step for him, and I'm not so sure that he will be following it. So if we can talk about just 10-15 minutes, I mean, in next session, how should whatever we have studied, or whatever we have talked about, how we can incorporate it and make it worldwide to the organization or enforce it to the world to the organization.
Awesome. Yeah, I got your point. Yeah, feedback taken. Yeah. We'll try to incorporate that. So basically, action items, how it could be used in the organization. Got it.
Right, because security is something which is very resistive to any company, any organization, right?
That's
They
right.
say, okay, this and that, my pipeline will break, my it hamper my production, sort of things.
Correct. That's right. Yeah, thank you so much for the feedback. Yeah, we'll try to incorporate it in the next session.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye.